Let's jump to the story from The Hill, and then we'll start getting into all that stuff. We have this The Hill story. DeSantis administration launches investigation into holiday drag show. Then there's I'm not sure if I have pulled it up, but Geraldo Rivera was like, why are they going after drag performances? It's like, this guy doesn't read the news. And that's the challenge. I'm not mad at Geraldo. I mean, you can be mad at him, criticize him for a lot of things. But the only story he sees gets filtered for the mainstream media, and they say DeSantis targets drag show. What they don't say in the headline is that the drag show had children there, and they were explicitly warned by the Florida government not to have children at the event. When they found out kids were at a drag show with sexualized performances, I don't know if it was DeSantis explicitly, but it's the DBPR was like, okay, we're going to be investigating this because we told you not to have kids there. It's illegal. Yeah. They say the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation on Wednesday announced it was investigating a holiday-themed drag show in South Florida. They said it was sexually explicit and marketed to children. The department is actively investigating the matter, including video footage and photographs from the event. The statement said the department plans to share any evidence collected in its investigation with the State Department of Law Enforcement and Criminal Liability. Look, I'm surprised it's taking this long to deal with this stuff. And it's like the best we get right now. This is Florida, of all places, where they had an all ages drag show where there's videos of children there. And there's men humping each other on stage. There's sexual organs displayed, secondary sexual organs on display for people to look at, and little kids.
I post a lot about drag shows, and I'll just say this was one of the worst ones I've ever seen.
I was talking to James Lindsay when we were at TPUSA, and I was like, look, this was before we went on stage, then we brought it up again on stage, and I was like, first it was Drag Queen Story Hour, and they kept saying, it's just reading a book, calm down. My response was, drag is a sexualized performance. If you took a stripper, a go-go dancer, wearing their outfit before they take it off and have them read for kids, go-go dancer story hour, would that be appropriate? Oh, that's totally different. That's totally different. I'm like, same thing. The go-go dancer's not naked, but that makes no sense. Why would you do it? Then they started doing all ages drag shows. It's just dancing. Calm down. They're just dancing. Then we saw that one where it said it's not going to lick itself on the wall. They're talking about ice cream. Oh, you're paranoid. Now they have simulated sodomy and overt sex acts in front of children.
They also have strippers, by the way, in front of kids.
Well, there you go.
A few videos
right.
of that. I mean, where is this going to end?
Drag and stripping is not the same.
It's not, but they'll do both for kids.
And then money being shoved down people's clothing, which is also like, what are you doing? Like, I think it's clear.
Explicit grooming.
Yeah.
So this is exactly. This is what I was telling James Lindsay. I'm like, it hits grooming on the head, like hits the nail on the head with a hammer. It starts with all we're doing is reading books, introducing the concept in the most innocent of ways, so you can. Plausible deniability. We're just reading books. Then you start dancing while you read the books. We're just dancing. Then you eventually get into the full drag performance. It's fine. It's a fashion show. Then you get into the heart of what it truly is meant to be for these people, and it's sexualized, sodomy, etc. And now they're in it full swing. That was the point. That was the grooming. And it worked. They weren't just grooming kids. They were grooming the parents to thinking it was okay to bring their kids.
They're grooming the media too.
Yep.
Yeah. By the way, no, they admit that themselves, that the point of drag is to queer kids. They admit that.
Yeah, James Lindsay posts this study.
Yeah.
It's not study, the paper. They actually wrote it themselves, saying the goal is to put glitter in a carpet that can never be removed, to get it in the brains of these children. They admit they're grooming, but they need people, in these activists in the media to lie to cover it up.
Yeah, and they'll happily go along.
When you said this was the worst drag show so far that you've seen, was that just graphically, like sexually? The most graphic
Did
of
you
all?
see the footage of it?
I don't think so. No.
There was someone on there with massive fake breasts, totally exposed to
We
kids.
can't show it.
They were the video will get taken down.
Men, thrusting into each other and things like that.
But kids were there?
Yeah.
Can't show it on YouTube. Kids were there? Okay.
Kids were being interviewed. Kids were put on the stage and on camera.
They were
talked to.
Well, so there's one part where one of the drag performers is talking about overt sex acts that they engage in. There's children sitting right in front. Then they ask the child, "What's your favorite part of the event?" This was in Texas, and the kid's like, "Nothing." It's like these parents are bringing these kids there because the parents were groomed.
And legally speaking, if a parent takes a kid to a over 18 movie, they're allowed, right? With a parent, I'm asking genuinely, with parental guardian, are they allowed to see porn? A kid?
No.
Like a 13-year-old?
Nope.
The parents then convicted of something if they expose their 13-year-old to it?
Not porn. I don't know the exact law. We've had people mention enticement of a minor, or there's exploitation laws about like if you go up to a child as an adult, even your child, and start showing them graphic images, depending on the context, right? If a parent brings a book on the birds and the bees, and to be honest, even a book like Genderqueer, no one's going to arrest a parent for being like, I want to show you a book and explain these things to you. I think you're ready. But if a parent goes to a kid and shows them overt, like, pornographic hardcore stuff, that's when you're getting to the line.
Child services. You find out kids being forced to watch that stuff, yeah.
And if an adult who's here's the like, look, there's a challenge I think most people might agree with. When a parent decides it's time to talk to their kids about the birds and the bees, and in what form that will be. I don't think the form of that is showing your kids hardcore porn, obviously. But there may be some people who argue, well, you know, these kids are going to experience these things on the internet and they got to be warned about it. It's like, okay, finding that line, I'll admit, it's going to be difficult for the law to figure out. I think we as moral human beings, like in this room and people watching, can clearly say, you know, when you see it, don't show it to kids. But for the law to figure out, it's going to be a lot harder. Now, the problem here is these are strangers. If a parent brought their kid to a strip club, they're going to get arrested and charged. Mm-hmm. They're endangering a child, period, hands down. The issue is it's cultural. A cop seeing a kid at a strip club is going to be like, this parent brought a kid to a strip club. The bar's in trouble, the 21 and up. The parent's in trouble. But because it's drag, it's under that protected flag. So the cops are going, I'm such a pathetic, scared piece of garbage. I won't actually do anything. So these cops are just standing back and saying nothing.
I think that's a problem, is that drag is like, if I came in here and was wearing a dress tonight, I'd be in drag. There's no sexuality. I mean, you could argue that but you can do that asexually. But when they start to take off clothing, even a sleeve, or simulating taking off clothing, then it becomes stripping.
Or humping each other like rabid dogs.
That's blatant. Or sex, you know,
or unzipping a fake.
Unzipping, pulling down.
No. Unzipping a fake female organ to birth something on stage in front of children.
Any kind of unzipping, I would argue, is stripping.
That's what they did.
So stripping is different than drag. And if you're showing kids stripping, that's another conversation.
Ian, no, they're the same thing.
Well, you can wear a dress and not strip.
Yes, but drag performances, this is what the left has been arguing.
Eddie Izzard, for instance.
The left has been claiming that drag, it's not stripping. They're taking their clothes off on stage for a costume change. And it's like, that's stripping.
Yeah, if you're taking your clothes off, it's stripping.
They're just playing semantics to manipulate, to groom. And DeSantis is saying...
But Eddie Izzard, he was a famous comedian, still is, that would wear women's clothing. He'd dress in drag for his comedy shows, but he's just straight up a dude. No, he's a guy.
Nope,
he's full.
You're wrong.
Eddie Izzard?
Eddie Izzard is full-on trans right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Didn't used to be.
Fact check it.
Yeah, Eddie Izzard for like 20 years was just a dude that would wear makeup and a dress and do comedy. So if a kid saw that, I don't think there's anything immoral about it. It's just Eddie expressing himself.
Well, this isn't the only story that DeSantis did.
Eddie Izzard is gender fluid, using the word transgender. I don't know. Yep, trans woman. Eddie Izzard's been out as trans for a while now.
Right. I wonder what the next psyop's going to be against the governor of Florida, since just a couple of months ago we had the whole "Don't Say Gay" bill that the whole country was talking about, that all the celebrities were talking about, that literally just allowed kindergartners to have parental consent when talking about these topics. And again, they lied about it. They're probably going to be lying about this. They're going to probably run another psyop about this. And it's interesting seeing Ron DeSantis at the head of a lot of these controversies. He also knows that this is important, that this is a bigger cultural war, and he also was involved in local school races. He also made sure that local school board elections had a lot of his support, and things are definitely changing in Florida, but I do see him as one of the major people that will be attacked in 2023. I don't know. What do you think?
No, for sure. I mean, he's definitely at the forefront of all these issues. It's incredible to watch. I wish more people would look at him and take cues from him, other governors. But I wanted to mention that other video. I don't know if you remember it. There was a viral video of a stripper walking down, I guess, the stage holding a little child's hand. Right. So that was in Florida, and they actually lost their liquor license.
Wow.
Yeah. Like DeSantis is really taking these things seriously.
Oh, that's great.
He's not. And now we have this in Florida too. So I think it's a matter of time till we see something happen where this is not going to be allowed in Florida anymore.
We're opening a venue, as I mentioned several times now, and I actually second guessed whether or not I was going to do it. One of the reasons was, to put it simply, the economy is going to implode in a catastrophic collapse in the next 60 to 90 days. So people have told me. But when we're looking at buying this property, we're hearing bad things. But there was another issue. Not too far away was a venue that had an all-ages drag show for Halloween or something like that. And then I was just like, I don't know if I want to open a business in an area that's doing something like that, next to a venue that would allow that. And then I thought about it, and I was like, this is West Virginia. I think if we are to open this venue, it would insulate this area to prevent things like this. Because if any one of these venues tries to do something like that again, we will just hold our own event and invite everyone down to come hang out. And then be like, we're going to peacefully have our voices be heard by hanging out, having coffee, doing our own event, and putting pressure on the city to not allow all ages shows, sex shows. Just not going to happen. We need that presence to stop it. Retreating wouldn't make sense. We have to push back.
Right. Well, I'll just say, if you're looking for a place where there's no drag shows, it's going to be basically impossible to find. It's in every.
I don't care about drag shows.
For kids, I'm saying.
For
drag
kids.
shows for kids, yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, who said if he had the money, he'd put on the biggest drag show ever. And the first thing I thought was like, what do you mean if you had the money? Like, dude's a millionaire. What's it going to cost to put on a big drag show? You can get a 3,000-seater venue. Your total cost is going to be like 30 to 40 grand. I know it's a lot of money, but not for the Young Turks. Their network, they can't afford that? Okay, fine. I said, we'll do it. This is going to be awesome. Timcast is going to sponsor one of the coolest drag shows ever. There's going to be, it's a free admission. It's going to be funny. There will be comedy. There will be an epic performance, free food, free booze, of course. And with the booze, of course, it's 21 and over only, but it'll be great. No, and everyone's like, yeah, okay, great. Yeah, you're an adult. Go do what you want. Right?
Yeah.
But where these people, these leftists disappear to? All of a sudden, they're just like not
They're
interested.
quiet.
How about just open a strip club? Be old school. Be old school about it.
No, but like, I don't care about drag shows. I actually think they are
Nobody
fun.
cared
Like,
about drag shows till they started involving kids.
Yeah, no, I don't think anybody still cares about drag shows. It's just the kids.
It's the kids, yeah.
And then they say, I think Cenk was like, they don't really care because they don't care about Hooters. And I'm like, yo, I don't like Hooters.
I don't like Hooters either.
What's wrong with
I'm not even a
Hooters?
conservative.
Come on.
Exploitative
No,
of women.
I don't
in my
care about
opinion,
that.
Making them wear tight outfits. They hire
It's a
women
free-
with
it's-
big
it's a
boobs.
free market, yeah.
Try and sell food. Horny guys.
Women choose to work.
You're
They're
right
allowed
about
to
that.
work there. I don't think it's appropriate place for kids to go eat.
I agree.
Yeah.
Strip clubs exist. Some of them have food. Don't care. Go to a strip club if you want to go to a strip club. I'm not. It's not my thing.
Full disclosure, I like the buffalo wings at Hooters. They're
Of course you do.
I always liked them. I've only had them like 4 times.
I never
3
believed
times.
that.
Oh, have you had them?
When I, yes,
Good buffalo sauce.
No.
You didn't think so?
Absolutely not.
This is like
I remember,
2006 or 5.
Like my whole life when I'm younger, I'm hearing from all my dude friends like, well, no, we should go to. I mean, the wings are actually really good at Hooters, and I'm like,
It's the sauce.
I'm like, is that for real, or are they just saying that because they want to see boobs? And then like I go with them, and I'm like, yo, these wings suck. Like
I've never eaten
I'm
there.
like, thanks.
I'm like,
thanks a lot. And
You
then
don't
I'm
wanna
like
look at the
eating my
boobs?
wings. It felt very weird. I felt very weird.
I just don't think it's right for kids. I don't like children beauty pageants.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah,
those
that's
are
Yeah,
weird.
they're always
though.
like, oh, call it beauty pageants. Yeah, sure. I'm against that too.
Yeah,
Child
not
beauty
appropriate for
pageants.
kids.
Yeah.
But
Hooters, not appropriate for kids.
But I will say this too: bringing some young boys to a restaurant where you're upset that women wear clothing, dude. If the kids went to the beach, they would see more boobs than they would see at Hooters. I'm not going to demand Hooters be shut down because the women have low cut tops. Women have boobs. Boys will see them whether they're at Hooters or at the beach or walking around.
Hey,
in
be
summer.
inclusive here. Bill Gates has moobs. Men could have moobs too.
Sam
Okay.
That's right.
Bankman-Fried, he
My
got that
point
one.
is-
Sam Bankman-Fried, he got the vegan moobs too.
I'll put it this way. Here's my hierarchy of like how bad it is. Hooters. Yeah, you shouldn't bring kids to a place called Hooters where the intent is that the waitresses have big tits hanging out. But little boys are going to see big tits walking down the street, so I'm not crying about it. Then you've got child beauty pageants. Okay, these are little girls like 10 years old, covered in makeup and wearing dresses and being told to shake their hips. I'm like, no, I don't like that at all. That I would say not a fan of. Probably shouldn't be doing that. Then you get to the Florida style or the Texas style drag shows we've seen where men are thrusting into each other, singing a song about screw Dolph, banging dudes. And it's like, children should definitely not be there, and that should be a crime.
I think calling it a drag show is a disservice to
Yeah.
the movement because it's a sex show at that
right.
point.
Yes.
Wait, there's another level on top of that. With kids themselves are the
Oh,
drag
right.
queens. So we're talking about minor
Yeah,
kids
like
that dress
NBC
up.
News had that. Good Morning America had a young
child
child.
drag-
children
Yep.
stripping for money at a gay bar
Yeah.
where men threw money at the little boy taking his
Justin,
photo.
Yeah.
wasn't that guy's
Yeah.
name?
Desmond.
Desmond.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
the first I saw it, 2015 or something. Is that when?
And then
There are so many now.
didn't they do like a TV show about drag kids
Yeah.
or something?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, that's grooming.
Dude, when the
straight up.
adults
And
were
he was
putting
talking about
money in his-
he's talking about doing ketamine too.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Snorting it. Like, didn't he like do a bumper, like a simulated doing
Yeah.
like people were saying, how does that 10-year-old kid know how to simulate doing drugs up the nose, snorting drugs? Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.